Hi everybody, it's Tate here, your summer reading coordinator for this year. So I have a really cool theme for you juniors out there. So anyone who got the junior kits, you guys will have the stuff to do this. So basically, you're gonna grab your kit that you will have picked up already. You're gonna take out one thing. It's salt. So you're also gonna need some sort of tub of water. I have like a little thing like this, and you'll need something to test like the floating ability of, oh, this egg has hair on it. So an egg is a good one. You probably have eggs at home. It's a good one to use. So we've got fresh water here. There's no salt in this water. Put an egg in it. The egg sinks, right? Now watch when I put, this is rolling away. Watch when I put salt in this. I'm mixing it with my hand. You guys can use spoon or whatever you like. Okay, did I mix it up enough? No, I didn't mix it up enough. So basically, what's gonna happen is the egg, after we like mix the salt and get it dissolved in the water and stuff, is going to float. And this is because, so it went to the bottom of the container when it was just regular water. This is because an egg is heavier than fresh water. But salt is technically a solid, but it's what's called a solvent. So it dissolves in water. And basically what it does is it makes the water denser or heavier. And so since the water's heavier, things that are around the density of water that would usually sink, that are just a little bit heavier than water, will sometimes float. Only thing is you have to make sure you get your salt dissolved in it, which is better with warm water. I think this is cold water, but basically, so still not floating. Do I need more salt? I hope I don't need more salt. I'm gonna grab more salt. Mr. Egg's not being very nice to me right now. So you guys might need a little bit of extra salt, depending on what you're floating in it. You can float other little things in here. You don't have to do an egg. But something that sinks in fresh water, but will float, but isn't too heavy so that it might float in salt water. And you can test a bunch of things. This is just kind of the example that I'm giving you guys. I'm really hoping it's gonna work. It's supposed to work. It's taking a lot more salt than I thought it would. It's okay, we'll keep chugging along. Why don't I give you this week's code for Beanstack? So this week's code for the junior Beanstack for this activity is sodium. So that's SODIUM. And you can get your parents to help you with that on your Beanstack account. And get the little activity badge for this activity. Oh, do you see that? Okay, it's starting to float. So, hoping this time is going to be the magic time. It's going to float this time. So have you ever noticed that you float better when you're in salt water than as opposed to water without salt, like fresh water? That's because salt water is much denser because of the salt that has dissolved in the water. It's much denser than water that doesn't have that. So things float better. Even things that would probably sink if you left them technically would still float better, but you know, if it's heavy enough, it's not going to float anyways. Because obviously salt isn't that heavy. If you add enough salt, though, it'll be pretty heavy because it is technically a solid, even though it's little grains. I wouldn't recommend eating this much salt, but you can put this much salt in water. Don't drink this water though. Salt water is not good for you. And if you get something that doesn't have awkward corners, like you have a bowl, probably be better. Something that doesn't have awkward corners like this little thing here. Okay, do you see it? It's not floating completely at the top, but do you see it? I don't know if you can see it. It's floating now. The end is still kind of touching the bottom, but it's actually floating now. So I'm gonna end this here, but basically you can try a bunch of different things. So we found out that an egg is gonna take a lot more salt than you probably have in your kit, but there are lots of other things that you might be able to get, like little toys and stuff. Just try a bunch of things and see what you can do. You might need some more salt, but yeah, that's really this week's steam for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.